Yeah. All kinds of echoes in the background here for me. I couldn't, I didn't know if we were live or what was happening. I had all kinds of background noise going on in my headphones here. So let's get the important stuff out of the way with here first, because we all know that this is what everybody's here to see.
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 9 of the Same Old Arsenal USA podcast. I'm joined, especially tonight, special guest for everybody, caddy corner to myself down in the bottom right, joined by none other than the Professor, Arsene Wenger.
It's me.
Hey, it's me, Mario. That's what you sounded like. Rohan, since you screwed the pooch there, how are you tonight, man?
I'm good. Yeah. Just got my copy today, so excited about this. I pre-ordered it and got it like a month after it released. So I mean, yeah, but I'm happy today. Yeah. Good.
Stan, welcome in. Thanks for being here.
Hello, mate. I'm good. I've got my my new Arsenal beer mug. There you go. Look at that. Sweet as, eh? Sweet as. And hello to everyone in the chat box as well. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Yeah. You guys are ready to go at 9:45. I'm sitting here. We're all getting set to go, and I'm reading the comments. I'm like, man, you guys like 9:45. It's right time to rock and roll. Let's go. Ryan, no David Wright poster in the background. No iPhone wallpaper behind you, as it were.
No, instead, for my fiance, I'm wearing a shirt. I guess it signifies this like game. It says "Keep calm and let it go," Frozen style. So
I was gonna say it's
Just trying to keep calm and let the weekend's result go, but it's a little tough. As I'm sure we'll get.
Why did you have to remind me of that, man? Come on.
Well, I didn't think we would spend. I want to. Gary, thank you, Gary, the chat box moderator. Thank you for being out there. Sorry, man. As we do this a little bit more, I'll get used to saying that. So, all doing well here, Gary. How are you? Thanks for being out there, man. Really appreciate it. So, yeah, I don't know that it's necessary for us to really dive into a full-blown analysis of Sunday's game. I mean, does anybody have anything to add to? We were outplayed and outclassed in every area of the pitch, which would include the touchline. I think Dean Smith absolutely put a masterclass on Mikel Arteta on Sunday. So I mean, we'll get into, I'm sure, in-game situations will come up in the conversation, but to sit here and go through and break things down, what the hell is there to break down? We got our asses kicked. It's as simple as that. Anybody want to add anything?
I mean, yeah, we'll get into it because I think Villa's a better team than we think. Don't get me wrong, we play like shit. We got beaten in all facets of the game, but I think Villa is actually a really good team, and I think Man U is a real shitty team. And I think people think that just because of the name, it holds weight, which I did say that. I did say 3 points to Old Trafford, 3 points to Old Trafford, and I still stand by that. But when you kind of compare things, Villa is a better team than Man U. I don't care what anyone says. Villa is a better team than Man U, despite what happens when they play each other. So, I mean, again, I'm sure we'll talk about it. Like I said, I'm sure it's going to sound weird, but I'm probably going to talk more about Villa than us, maybe a little more in some aspects. But at the end of the day, preference everything I say, we played terrible. And, things need to change.
We do all know that you man crushed pretty hard on Jack Grealish too. So
yeah, and the way he had sex with the Arsenal 11 over the weekend.
That is absolutely not what I would call that. That is not what I would call having sex. That's way too nice. Way too nice.
He would be on an episode of Law & Order SVU, the way he handled us over the weekend. And everyone wonders why I go overboard about him. I think he's one of the best players, if not the best player in the Premier League.
Yeah, Rohan, go ahead. Just go ahead and add a few things about Sunday real quick.
3 points is 3 points, and our Arsenal team just doesn't get it. And for years, they haven't got it. They turn up against Manchester United, and then they don't turn up against Aston Villa. All respect to Villa, but we played into them. We were playing at home, for God's sake. We tactically got done. I did not agree with playing 3 at the back, playing 2 midfielders against Jack Grealish, who's in form, against Barkley, who can play. These guys came in and we just didn't trouble them. And then persisting with Aubameyang on the left, Lacazette just looks heavy when he has chances. He's not converting them. He doesn't have the hunger or the desire. I don't know what it is that we're playing him for. His average position on the pitch is in the center circle. That's where our number 9 plays. So there's all sorts of wrong. And, like I said, I became an Arsenal fan watching the creative, watching the exciting Arsenal teams play over the years. And even if we didn't win titles or we didn't win trophies, it was always fun to watch Arsenal, right? We'd concede stupid goals, which is in hindsight, it was funny. But we'd create some great moments. We'd create some beautiful football, right? And we've scored like 1 goal in the past 4 games, and that's been through a penalty. We just haven't looked like scoring. And, again, this is sort of reminding me of the Emery times when I was just not enjoying watching Arsenal, and that's what's happening right now. I'm not saying that I'm Arteta out or anything. I trust in Arteta, but he really needs to do something about it because right now it's just boring.
I'm curious. Sorry, I don't want to cut you anyways off. I see the comments. Everyone's saying I'm on drugs. I'm curious where Man U is better than Villa.
Yeah, I noticed that too. We'll
maybe the forwards, but Ollie Watkins. But I don't want to get into it because it's not a Villa podcast, it's not a Man U podcast. But just because they're Man U doesn't make them a better team by default. Villa is a good team. But yeah, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, Stan, thoughts on Sunday?
Well, for me, it's like every time I think I'm close to working out the puzzle that is Arsenal, I'm not. It's like if it was a Rubik's Cube, I think I've completed it, and then there's always that one square again that's not in the right place. And what I mean by that is, if I go back to the Leicester game, that was a game that when we went into that game, I was convinced that we were going to come away with that with 3 points, and we didn't. And I was so disappointed after the Leicester game, so much so that when we went into the Man United game, I went into that thinking that we would be lucky if we could come away with a draw. Mm-hmm. And then we go up there and play the way that we did. So again, going into the Aston Villa game at home, I was convinced that we were gonna get the 3 points. And watching that game, I was down a pub watching that one. We had a wake-up call after 46 seconds. And for me, that was the best time. If we needed a wake-up call, that was the best time. Because imagine if that had happened after 20 minutes when everyone's comfortable playing the way they were. You get your wake-up call after 46 seconds. I expected everyone to be like, hold on a minute, lads. Do you know what I mean? We need to come correct here because these guys, they ain't messing about. Do you know what I mean? And we were so lucky to get it chalked off. And what did we do with that wake-up call? We just rolled over and went back to sleep. Went back to sleep. I mean,
go ahead.
How does that happen? 46 seconds, we're on the back foot, and we haven't got enough about ourselves to put that right. And look at the end score; it's 3-0. And this was more not about the defense letting us down. For me, even though it was 3-0, the conversation is about the attack.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're going to dig into it and start going over, individual personnel, formations, tactics, lineups. I'm sure that we're going to talk about people that maybe should have been at least on the bench after doing well in Europe, you know, on more than one occasion now and not getting a sniff. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I put out a poll, I think I put it out on Sunday. It was a little bit after the game. I basically said, what are we blaming for this performance? Are we blaming the players and their lack of effort? Are we blaming the talent level of the players? Are we do we need to come to the acceptance that we're just an average team? Despite what we may think of ourselves, maybe we are really just a bang average side. Was it down to Mikel Arteta and his tactics? I can't remember what the fourth option was, and quite frankly, my phone at the moment escapes me. I have no idea where it is, so I can't even bring it up. Maybe somebody could help me out with that before I dip out of here. Go try to find my phone. But so Stan, I'm going to come right back to you of the at least the three anyway that I just mentioned. Let's also not forget that 1 goal in 4 games. This is after an international break. So we've had 4 games now between international breaks. We've scored 1 goal from a penalty kick that we really didn't even earn. To be honest with you, the penalty that we got, that's just a brain fart from Paul Pogba. That's just an awful defensive play for Paul Pogba. It's not like somebody made a great play in the box for us and United had no choice but to take the penalty. So, Stan, is it players' effort, players' talent? Is it Arteta and his tactics?
I think it's a little from all of those columns at the moment. You know, I don't think it's just you can just go to one of those options and say it's that. It's a little bit of all of it. We've definitely got some players still in this squad or the team that, for me, are well below players that we should really have in our squad. So that means that we're lacking on talent level. I would have to also say that the tactics and the formations have been a little bit questionable at times, and how Mikel Arteta is setting the team out. And there's also, for me, you have to say that there are players that look like they're not bothering. You know, they're thinking, "Oh, it's not working for me today," and then that's it. They're not going to try for the rest of the game. You know?
Yeah, I agree, and that was a brilliant point that you said, right? A wake-up call after 46 seconds, and you know when that went in. First of all, you know, Ross Barkley was in front of Leno, so it was technically offside.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't have mattered if he was not there, because that shot was going in, right? That shot was going in. Okay. We had that situation and then it got chalked off. And the first thing that I thought was, yeah, wake up call. And the second thing was that in the Leicester game, we scored early. It got given offside. And then they played, you know, so we got some sort of justice there. You know, VAR ruled 1 early goal for us. We got 1 ruled, you know, for us in our favor, right? But what did Leicester do in that game? They sat back. They knew how they had to play. They executed that game plan, and they won that game. But what did we do? We couldn't execute our game plan. I mean, we didn't have any game plan, I think. And that is why we just ended up capitulating, you know. And 2 weeks ago for that Leicester game, I think we had a discussion and there was a conversation about who is to be blamed, right? The players or Arteta, right? And all of you said Arteta, and I said it was the players because this was the best 11, etc., etc. But 2 weeks down, I mean, I'm going to ask you guys the same thing, but my answer has changed now, because there are people who just haven't been playing well enough, and he's been persisting with them.
Yeah.
Case in point, Alexander Lacazette. He does not deserve to be in the starting spot right now. Aubameyang is the most lethal player that we have. His goals have dried up. You need to put him in the middle. There was no point in playing 3 at the back at home against Villa. You had to have bodies in midfield. This was just tactically disastrous the way that we played, and it was unacceptable. And this time it is Arteta to be blamed. It's also the players, because the players, they should have had the quality to sort of convert the chances and not capitulate in that way. But Arteta has to take major part of the blame in my opinion.
I want to come back to the Lacazette thing, because you and I are going to disagree on this until the cows come home, my friend. Not in terms of production, because clearly the production is not there. What he's supposed to be doing, he's not doing. So that's where I don't disagree with you there. But we'll circle back around to this. But Ryan,
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about Lacazette. That's different from what Rohan's saying.
Okay.
I'm on pins and
do you want me to just go now?
No. If you have it sectioned off later on the show, I can wait.
Listen, you want to see my notes?
There
aren't any.
I think I've got a good idea what you're going to say, Tanner. So I'm interested to hear. I think I've got a good idea.
All right, what were you going to do? What were you going to say?
Okay,
Sorry.
so here's the thing, and I've been saying this for a while now. It's it's an opinion. Clearly it's an opinion. It is down to what Arteta is asking of Alex Lacazette. I keep hearing from people, he's not in the box. He's not in the box. He's not in the box. I get that, and you're absolutely right. I don't think that's what Arteta wants him to be doing. That in and of itself can be debated, and he needs to be in the box. What Arteta, in my opinion, again, is doing is he's dropping Lacazette deep as it's almost not even as a false nine. He's really what's that?
It's a false eight.
Yeah. He wants Lacazette almost to play as a supporting midfielder because he's only playing two. So Arteta then is expecting the offense, the scoring, not even the creativity, but the scoring to literally come from the very edges of the penalty box with either Willian or Pepe and Aubameyang out on the left. I mean, it's Willian on the right and it's Aubameyang out on the left. So I think it's a bit unfair, given what the coach is asking the player to do, to really throw the book at Alex Lacazette. I agree that he's not producing, and that's his job. His job is to score goals. I won't disagree with that. But in this system, what the coach is asking him to do, I don't think he's being put in a position to score goals. And so I think it's a little unfair to just point at him and say, you're the problem. You need to go. That being said, Aubameyang needs to be played through the middle. But let me give you one other. I'm going to try to draw this out for you using my fingers. Okay. So this is the striker. This is as you're watching, this is the right wing and this is the left wing. Okay. The tip of you see that this finger is higher up the pitch than these two are. What's happening is, and this is going to be really hard to do, but this is basically what's happening. Okay. If you put Aubameyang through the middle in this system, if you put Aubameyang in the middle and Arteta asks him to do the same thing that Lacazette's doing, it's going to be worse. It'll be worse because Aubameyang's not a player to hold the ball up the way that Lacazette is. Not that he's doing a good job of it, but Aubameyang's not going to produce in that role either. I just don't think anybody will. I think that Lacazette's doing exactly what the coach is asking him to do. That's
okay.
it.
I've got.
1 second before you answer that, Rohan. First point is we're going to have to get a whiteboard for you, Tanner.
Yeah.
Yes, I need a dry erase board. I've been saying this tomorrow. I'm on it tomorrow.
Just before Rohan answers, I think that is half. What you said is half of the answer that I was going to give. That's half of it. Now I'm interested to see whether Rohan's going to say the other half, because I think there's a bit more to the story.
Yeah, no. So see, I agree with the fact that there must be some instructions for him to drop back, which is why Arteta has to take part of the blame. Because Stan, as you have said before, I agree, and I think we've had a discussion on it. Is because we're light in midfield. Why are we light in midfield? Because we take one person out of midfield and we go to defense. We put 3 people in defense against an Ollie Watkins for God's sake, like it's not like they had 2 strikers in the box who we had to mark with 3 people. We had 3 against their 1, and then we had 2 people in midfield with our inverted fullbacks, which wasn't working right then. So to compensate for that, the numbers in midfield, Lacazette has to drop back, and that's the reason why Lacazette is playing there. So that's why Arteta needs to take the blame. But the case in point is, and I tweeted this out to remember, if anybody can go and rewatch that game or has the will to rewatch that game, you don't have to rewatch it completely. Just watch 50 minutes, 22 seconds of that game, right? Like on 50-22 in that game, there's a breakaway, right? There's a breakaway that we have, and one of our midfielders, I think, has the ball. They're charging towards goal. Lacazette is behind them, and he makes no effort to sprint. He makes absolutely no effort to get into the box. The effort is the problem. The effort is the problem. First of all, when he gets the chance in front of goal, what was that header? He just didn't jump. Has he got sandbags in his pocket or something? He just looks heavy right now to me. Yeah. He's not fit to play. He can't get over the ball in that header. That's a bread and butter shot to at least test the keeper. He didn't do that. The lack of desire that he has, he's dropping back is fine, but he doesn't have the desire to get in because he's too happy. He knows that Aubameyang is my mate. We both are going to dance together, and that's what we're going to do. He's not coming for my position because he's going to stay there. When I want to see a fight there for that spot in a good way, and that's just not happening. And Lacazette needs to take the blame for not having the desire that is required of a number 9 at Arsenal Football Club.
And there you go. I think that is the whole answer for me. Yeah, he is being asked to come back. And I think if you look at his heat map and you look at Eddie Nketiah's heat map, they spend a lot of time in the centre circle just for number 9s. And you watch the game with even Eddie Nketiah, you see that number 30 on his back. The amount of times I see it in the centre circle. But there have been times when the player's broken forward and Lacazette has been there to be on the end of something. And his finishing has either been woeful. As Rohan says, there's been no effort, for example, for a header. Or when there is the breakaway, you've got midfielders that are running past Lacazette. He's not the one that's, got his tail up trying to get into the box to be on the end of something. And it was a tweet that I saw the other day, and it was so perfect. It said, watching Aubameyang crossing balls into the box to Lacazette is heartbreaking.
Yeah. That and let me ask Ryan. I think you're very patiently sitting over there. Feel like you're biding your time for a big answer here. Go ahead. What's your opinion on the I guess the two opposing views of, if you will, of Lacazette?
I don't really have much to say, actually. I actually completely agree with Stan and Rohan. I think to simplify it for me, it's, I agree. I think Arteta kind of gave Lacazette a kind of plan, a structure, something that he needs to do, a job to do. But he's not doing it. He's not doing a good job at it. So you wonder, do you blame Arteta for giving him the job, or do you blame him because he can't do the job? You gotta blame them both. And you think it's not like they go into these games cold. It's not like he just goes, okay, hi, I'm Mikel Arteta. I'm your coach for the game. This is what I want you guys to do. If you guys can do that, that'd be fantastic. No. They have training sessions. So obviously, I think Lacazette is capable of doing something of this capacity. He's doing none of it. He has no first touch. He falls on the ground like a little baby. He cries like said little baby.
He free kicks as well.
To me, I hate to say it because he's someone last year I was a big fan of his, or maybe 2 years ago, player of the season. I think, I don't know. I think to me, it's just a simple answer. He can't do anything on the field that Arteta is asking him to do. So you can blame whoever you want to blame, but at the end of the day, he's on the pitch and he can't do it. I don't care what job he's given. He can't do it. We don't have Leno playing striker. We don't have Holding playing striker. We don't have Aubameyang playing right back. We don't have Nicolas Pepe playing in goalie, even though he used to play goalie when he started his professional career. We have positions for a reason because these guys can do the positions that they are told. I even said this on other podcasts. His bread and butter is getting the ball, making that quick turn in the box, and slotting it home. That's just what he does. But that's not what he's told to do. And as a striker, you need to be able, as a professional player for Arsenal Football Club, you need to be able to adapt. And I think that's, for me, that's a big thing going forward as a club. Players and Mikel Arteta, adaptability. We have zero adaptability. And it's crazy to say that because a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, we were all talking about, well, where would Ainsley Maitland-Niles play? Well, what should our formation be? Who's going to be on midfield? Where can is Saka left forward? Is he left? We have so many players that can play so many different positions, but yet when it comes down to game time, when it comes down to the big show, we have zero adaptability, and it shows with the players and it shows with the manager.
Also, as well, with Lacazette, he's 29 years old. He's got 2 years left in his contract, and the club haven't offered him an extension. So I think we can see what Mikel Arteta, he's not in his plans for the long term.
Yeah, get him out.
So I'm gonna switch gears here briefly, and I think this is going to be sort of I think this is pretty much going to be the dominant topic of the night. But nobody really. I've seen it on Twitter, so it's not nobody, but it's very sporadic what I see on Twitter. Nobody wants to seem to give Aubameyang any slack at all, or nobody wants to criticize Aubameyang. And my question is it because he signed the new contract, he's the hero of the FA Cup? Is it because he's got his funky hairstyles, or he's got his loud clothes and all his fancy cars? Or is it just, nope, that's my favorite player, so he could come over here and cut off my toe, and I'm still going to worship at the altar of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who has not produced a shot now, I believe, in 3 games from open play. I think it's 3. I could be wrong. Somebody can fact check me on that. But nothing. He has done absolutely nothing. So we sit here and we give Lacazette all of the slander. We criticize him. He shouldn't be sniffing any playing time right now. None of them are doing anything. So my question to the 3 of you would be, why is it Lacazette and not Aubameyang?
It's all.
I think I know what the answer would be. Or if I had to answer my own question, I think I know how the answer would go. Rohan, I'm going to start with you because I know Aubameyang's your guy. So give me, if Aubameyang is going to stay on the left, if he's not going to be put into the middle, because I think that would be Aubameyang right now. That would be his saving grace. Would be, well, we could put him through the middle and things should change for him. But if he stays on the left, what's the argument for him to stay in the game? Stay in the side.
So that's again. So I'm not saying that Aubameyang played very well, and it's only Lacazette. See, the team is disjointed, right? Mm-hmm. The team can't get passes together. The team can't dominate, and all of that. The issue is that he can't get shots away because he's playing on the left. And what we've been saying, he has to play through the middle. He has to play within the breadth of the box. Right, like that's what we're saying. And if he plays there and he has these abject performances there, then he's going to get that sort of slack, But I mean, how is he supposed to get shots in when there aren't people who are playing 1-2s with him and getting him into a position that he can take those shots? Right now, the issue is that we're not even creating. The only way this can work is with, if Lacazette was to drop deep, that our midfield and our fullbacks, they assert themselves so much that they provide the width, and then our wingers are basically coming in, like how Salah and Mane do in Liverpool, right? They come in, and the fullbacks provide that width, but we're not getting that width from the fullbacks as well. There was one good cross that Tierney put in, but apart from that, those guys were poor too. And so there's just nothing happening. The exchanges are not happening, and he's not playing close enough to the goal. That is the issue. But I am in no way saying that he had a 10-on-10 game. He had an abject performance as well, and he has to be criticized as well. But I could go on criticizing each player.
Oh yeah.
But then I'm talking about the main culprits of the game, which is, for me, it's Arteta, and for me it's Lacazette. Ryan,
you had your hand up. Did you want to?
So the only argument I have to say to Rohan would just be the whole front three is shit. There's no question about it. It's really bad. I do think the blame for me is Willian and Lacazette more so because they shouldn't be playing. They shouldn't be starting, right? But Aubameyang won the Golden Boot for us while he was playing on the left. Aubameyang won us an FA Cup on the left. So for me to say that, it's because he's on the left and he's not playing to the middle, it's kind of a dumb argument. I'm not. No offense. It's not really an argument because he's done all these things for us on the left. Do I think he could be better in the middle? I don't necessarily think so. I think our best bet, and I think Clive said it on Arsenal Vision pod, fucking awesome pod. Everyone should check it out. Clive is like amazing, but we should play a rotating 4 in the front, like a rotating diamond, and I think that's our best bet. I think if Aubameyang solely plays to the middle, he'll get battered by any center back pairing that we go up against. I think he's too lightweight. I think I just think he'll get pushed around, and that's not Aubameyang's game. Aubameyang is all about pace, speed, finding that little space, and even doing a shot from outside the 18, which he's done for us too. But it's tough to really say because he's not doing a job on the left, but he did a job for us on the left. He used to do that. I just think it's at the end of the day, it is the entire front line. I think the entire front line is, like you said, Rohan, I think it's disjointed. I think it needs work. Something needs to change. I think we need to change formation-wise and tactically. I don't think we should keep playing it back 3. I agree. I think we should go to back 4. I do. I think at the end of the day, I think we need some kind of a moving diamond in the front. Maybe like a Willock, Pepe, Aubameyang, Saka. You could interchange. Put as I say Willian, I meant to say Willock. But you could put in Willian. We have players that interchange. You can put in Reece Nelson. Yes, I know Reece Nelson and Willock are for the Europa League games. I get that, but they're playing well. I think they should get look-ins. I mean, especially performances like this. After a performance like this, you can't be putting in the same 11 week in and week out, and slightly changing formations, slightly changing tactics. I do think that 1 or 2 players, or even really just one, if you want, just from that front line, just needs to be dropped, and then we need to figure something out.
Stan,
right. So to answer your question, which was why is Lacazette getting pelters and Aubameyang gets a free pass? I think the best way to answer that question is transfer it to Mikel Arteta. And what I mean by that is that you can love the manager and be behind the manager, but you can also critique any failings you may see during the 90 minutes of a match. The two things are not mutually exclusive. And I'll give you an example of this, right? Yesterday, I done a poll on Twitter. And when I do a poll on Twitter, I do it because I'm genuinely interested to find out what the rest of the Arsenal fan base that I tweet with, what they're thinking. And then I use that stuff when I'm on a show like this, right? So the question that I asked was, how do you feel about Mikel Arteta? Are you, and then you got 2 choices, Arteta in, Arteta out. So there's no bias in the question. I'm not swaying anyone to how I feel in any way. And at about just under 800 people took part in the poll. And the result was 88% want Arteta in and 12% want Arteta out. But the point I want to make is it's the people that had to come into the comments, right? And the best one is, which sums it up, is this one. It says Arsenal Twitter summed up in one post. Seriously, it's crap like this. So I basically just asked a question. No bias, not saying how I feel, but I asked a question about the manager. Do you see what I'm getting at? You can't ask questions. This is Twitter. That's what Twitter's for, right? They give you an actual poll button to do polls.
Mm-hmm. I did one.
If you try to say, Aubameyang, for example, I thought they had a really bad game in the last few games. He's had no touches of the ball. What you will get back is people will give you all of the stats of the stuff that he's done for us so far. And that's not what the question is, right? I know he's done for us so far, but the discussion point now is, he can't put the ball in the back of the net. And we've just given him a contract of about 300 bags a week. So there's concern, right? There's concern. It's a conversation that you can have. It doesn't mean that you hate Aubameyang and you want to sell him tomorrow to the first for the first person that will take him. It's just about having a conversation and a dialogue. And that's why we do these podcasts, right? And that's why you guys have tuned in to the podcast, in the chat box, and that's why people will get up tomorrow and watch it back. So if you go onto Twitter and you put out a poll and you ask questions, don't just ignore these fannies that just want to start it up. Do you know what I mean? They just want to try to start up crap. You can ask questions.
So to be fair,
Sorry,
Stan, I will defend.
That's my little rant over.
I will defend the person's reply real quick because I know you, so I know you generally want to know. But if somebody I don't know after a game like Villa, to me, I'm Arteta in. I think Arteta can get the job done. I think he's the best person for the job, and I still trust him. I've said this many times. We're not going to be good this year, and I don't know what people are so freaking out. Oh my God, Oh, really? Yeah. Welcome to Arsenal fan club. And I said this so long ago that we were going to be bad this season, and no one. I guess everyone forgot. They're like, oh yeah, no, we're going to win the league because we got Partey. Anyways, when I see it, when you watch a game like Villa, and it was not fun. It wasn't fun to watch. But again, you didn't post this right after the game. But if I come on Twitter and I immediately see people going, Arteta in, Arteta out, it's going to trigger me because from someone who is a fan of Arteta, and I believe that it's a process. Nothing's going to get fixed overnight.
I don't want 4 hours, right?
I know. And that's what I'm saying.
Let me say the reason I asked the question was because I was hearing a lot of chatter, and I was watching other podcasts and in other chat boxes. I was seeing a lot of people, which surprised me, saying that they want Arteta out, and it surprised me. So I decided to ask the question. I wanted to gauge it. I was like, really? How many of them are out there? Now, had 800 people all said 100%, we want him in, then I thought to myself, well, yeah, that was a bit of a stupid poll, as one guy said in the comments. But the fact that there was 12%, and I respect everybody's opinion, but there was 12% that, for whatever reason, they want him out. Maybe these are people that never wanted him in the first place, right? So, they're waiting for him to make any mistakes because he wasn't their choice. Maybe some of those people weren't even Arsenal supporters and they were just trolling my poll. Who knows? But it was something that I was generally interested in. Me personally, I think if you want Arteta out, I just think that it's a little bit premature for that to be even discussed. That's just my opinion.
The only question
I was 50-50 when he was appointed. He wasn't my first choice. I was kind of 50-50, and I do see the team in a better light than I did under Unai Emery in certain ways. But of late, there have been certain things that I put it back to Mikel Arteta, whether it's playing Willian as a number 9, that's one I'm going to pull out the bag, or whether it was signing Willian in the first place, whoever was behind that. Maybe that wasn't Mikel Arteta. But there are a few things where I think to myself, yeah, I'm not so sure. But I also said on Twitter, if you were willing to accept a manager that had never done this job before, then surely you have to accept that there will be maybe more days like Sunday. There has to be. He's never done this. He's learning on the job. And when you learn on the job, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
All I can hope is that when he does make these mistakes, he's making a note of it, and he's not going to revisit the mistake again. I can handle that, but to ask for his head now on a silver platter, that's not for me. I think that's very premature.
But I think you made a good point though, Stan. With it's going to be a learning process. We're going to experience growing pains, but this is 4 games on the trot now where we've experienced the exact same growing pain and nothing has changed. Let me rephrase 4 league games, because obviously the Europa League is different. So 4 league games on the turn now where we've experienced the exact same growing pain. So I am full Arteta in. I am not even remotely close to being Arteta out. There was I see a lot of people, and Rohan and Ryan, I know you guys both had things to say. Let me get this out real quick, and I'll get you in. there's a lot of stuff going around comparing Unai Emery and Mikel Arteta's first, I think, 28 matches. I think you guys have seen the comparisons. The numbers are close. In some instances, the numbers favor Unai Emery. There is a dramatic difference in, at least there had been until Sunday, a dramatic difference in the attitude of the players. And there was just an overall different vibe surrounding the club. That vibe is starting to disappear. It is starting to, I do sense it's starting to turn back around into that Unai Emery, look, we're going to be happy to play things out to a 0-0 or 1-1 draw at home, which is a problem. But I think those comparisons are a bit misplaced, to say the least. Rohan, I know you wanted to piggyback there off something that Stan had said. So go, if you still have the train of thought, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point that Stan had said, and I completely agree. You've got a rookie manager. What do you expect? He's not going to make any mistakes. He is going to make mistakes, and he is making those mistakes. And what you want to see is that he learns from it. And I think that the issue was that the defeats against City or Leicester or Liverpool, he must have thought that these are better teams than us right now in terms of them being the team, right? And so getting beaten by them is it's more players than me, and they didn't turn up. But against Villa, he would have realized, and he did come out and say that the effort was the problem. He said this was the first time that I felt that the effort is the problem, and they didn't give me any effort, and he took responsibility for that. So there were some strong words, and that means that it cannot be the same starting 11 when we see them in 2 weeks' time. And, that's what I want to see from him. See, I don't want to be in that, continuous loop of changing managers, etc. I like Arteta. I like those things that he says. I like the fact that he's imaginative. He tries things. Sometimes he's, like we've said in earlier podcasts, if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. He's too cool for school, like Stan had said earlier, right? Sometimes he's that. But I mean, it's not for the want of trying, right? He's not doing the same thing and getting beat the same way. He tried different things and they didn't come off. With the Aubameyang situation, we played him through the left, and there was for a long time there was that long ball being played, by Tierney to Aubameyang, and we do the team, right? That's how we beat City in the semifinals, and that's how we beat Liverpool in the Community Shield, right? Like the long ball from Tierney on the left and Aubameyang running with it. Teams have understood it, and they're not letting us play that way. That's why it got undone. Now it's on Arteta to sort of think about something else. Aubameyang needs to have touches in the box before he can have shots on target. He's not even getting touches in the box, and that's because our intricate play in and around the box is not there. And that again is because of no midfield, no control, no concerted pressure, and all of that. But that should come. So, I'm not even close to Arteta out. I think it is a process. I trust in him. It's a bump, and I'm bummed out, but that doesn't mean that I'm just going to be, that somebody else is the answer. We have to persist.
Yeah. Ryan,
I wish there was some type of program or lottery where these people that are critiquing Arteta, that's saying how bad of a job he's doing and that want him at his club, can coach the team for a day. Throw him into a game, have them manage Arsenal's for a day, and just see how that goes. But really,
are we getting his wage for the day?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah.
I've got to right here.
You gotta earn that one.
I'll do it
right here.
I'll do it for half his wage.
But no, my the only thing I really have to say in the whole Arteta, whole Arteta out thing, to me, I understand why you did it, Stan, but I think it's a silly question. I think it's a dumb question. And the only response I have to people that are Arteta out is, who's better? Who do you think? Let's say we fire Arteta tomorrow. Who are we getting in? who's going to be a better choice
Here's the question
to carry us forward.
Let me ask you, why is that question dumb in your eyes? Why is it dumb?
Because the question I just posed. Who are we bringing in that's going to be better than Arteta and carry this club forward and get us into a better spot than what we already have got ourselves into since like when Mikel arrived. But I don't think there's anybody.
But there was 12% on that poll that for whatever reason said that they want him out. So
for me
that surprised me. Hold on. For me that surprised
me.
And that actually educated me. So I wouldn't say that it was dumb because I had no idea that it would even be as high as 12%.
I thought it'd be higher.
When we went down with the more people that were voting. Yeah. So, I didn't put a tweet out to be provocative. And that's the reason why the question was written very unbiasedly and very simply. But I really was intrigued to know because I was seeing so many people in other chat boxes who were just saying, Arteta out. And it was coming up on my timeline. And I was surprised by that. So I thought, let's find out.
So let me pose this to the three of you and everybody in the chat box. Is there any portion of this fan base I think there's a very big portion of this fan base, quite frankly, and I would even probably categorize myself as a part of it. I think I'm more of a realist, but I would say that there's a part of me that is almost entitled. And is there an entitlement within a vast majority of this fan base that we're Arsenal Football Club? We are the invincible club. And no, we shouldn't be playing like this. So the manager has to go because this problem, and it's a diluted way to think because it's just not realistic. But there's a large portion of this fan base, like I said, that I think is just they feel entitled to win. They feel entitled to be, if not the best, talked about in the conversation with being the best. And so with the form of really it's the last 7 matches, because the Fulham game notwithstanding, we are who we are. Take that game and put it in the bin, because the last 7 matches that we've played, that's who we are right now. Is it really just this Arteta out thing? Is it that entitlement part of the fan base that's coming through and saying, yeah, he's not getting the job done. We should be at the top of the league because we're Arsenal Football Club. We could trot out a bunch of 10-year-olds, but we're Arsenal Football Club, so we should be at the top of the league. Is that what this is?
I don't know if that is what it is. And if that's what it is, then that's the same attitude that our players have, because they think that 3 points at points at Manchester United is you get 4 when you win at
somehow or other those 3 points are weighted more than
it's a golden 3 points, right? Winning at Villa is just 2 points. See, I don't think it's a dumb question or any of that. It wasn't even leading. There are people in the chat box who think that Arteta is not the guy, and I don't know why they think that way. And I respect the fact that they feel that way, because what they want is also the best for the club. What I can give is just my perspective, and my perspective is that 8 games ago, 10 games ago, nobody was saying Arteta out. Nobody said that. So I can't be that. I can't change my thinking so quickly to say that, this guy in our worst season has won us the FA Cup. He's won us the Community Shield. He's beaten Liverpool. He's beaten, United twice already. He's beaten Chelsea. There are things that we weren't doing before. He's done that. We've hit a rough patch. Aubameyang, for the first time since he's come to Arsenal, is out of form. He would score goals from anywhere and he consistently did that for Emery. That's the difference between Emery and Arteta. Arteta doesn't even have Aubameyang to bail him out right now. And, I guess Aubameyang is entitled to a rough patch like every other player, but then it is Arteta's job to sort of turn it around and put him in a position to be scoring. Put him in a position where he can get his confidence back, because he's a key player. So that's the reason why I feel Arteta is the right guy, because he's proactive and he says things the way we see it. He doesn't call it like Rodgers, who's just going to be like, character was great and, things are like that. We won against Liverpool last season, and what he said was, we matched them for desire, but in terms of quality, they are much better than us. he said this time when we lost against Villa that these guys, there was just no effort. So it's too soon for judgment. That doesn't say that he has to be our manager for the next 10 years, but we have to give him the season. We have to give him some time.
Yeah. Who's next?
What I'm looking for personally is now that we, as a couple of people saying in the chat box, why would you give the job to a rookie? Why? I agree with you. He wasn't my first choice, but the club have made that decision. That's the decision that the club has made. It can't be reversed. Somebody in the chat box said, would you give your car to a rookie? Well, at some point, when you come out of mechanic school, at some point, someone has to give you their confidence that works in the garage and give you your first car to fix. There has to be that. It happens in life, right?
Yeah. Somewhere Arteta was going to get his first chance, and he was going to be a rookie. I think this attitude is we're Arsenal Football Club. We shouldn't be giving a rookie. We shouldn't be giving somebody his. We're too big. We're too big to be handing out first chances to managers.
But here's what I'm looking for. When we come back in 2 weeks' time for our next league game, I'm looking to see what Mikel Arteta has addressed.
Yeah. And that's going to be, and I'm so glad you brought that up because you're leading right into the next point. If nothing changes against Leeds, if the lineup doesn't change and if the tactics don't change, now we start to have a conversation about, okay, now we're talking about Mikel Arteta, the person, because stubbornness is a trait that doesn't just exist in your job. It exists in your life. And is he just a stubborn individual who will not change because he's just hell-bent on, no, this is right, and I'm going to make it work?
Perfect. That's exactly the question I've been asking, because there is a part of me that, when I think about it, Arsenal sometimes when I'm sat by myself, there's a part of me that thinks, fucking hell, he's so stubborn. Surely he can see what people are not demanding, but what people are suggesting. And surely you can see body language from players, but you keep sticking with it. So for me, after these 2 weeks, I'm looking for certain changes. I'm looking to see. I'll give you an example. I want to see a steady four at the back. I think it's time that Nicolas Pepe starts ahead of Willian. For me, Nicolas Pepe, he may be the kind of player that may do 6 or 7 bad things in a game, but he's still capable of maybe doing 1 or 2 good things. And those 1 or 2 good things could be what leads to you getting a draw or 3 points. Willian, for me, I don't see that in him. I also want to see, like we discussed earlier, it's time for Lacazette to come out now. It's time for him to come out for a while, and we need to find something else for the middle. I don't know whether that's a formation that includes Aubameyang with Nicolas Pepe. I don't know that's a formation that includes Aubameyang and Eddie Nketiah, or Aubameyang with 2 different people either side of him. Who knows? But I want to see something different, because if we go out there exactly the same as how we've just ended this last chapter, then the next time that we're on this podcast, there'll be more questions that I'm going to be asking.
So Ryan, and Stan, I think you pretty much just I'll say gave your opinion on the question or your answer to the question. But Ryan, what changes are you looking for? I assume you're looking for changes first of all, and if so, what changes are you looking to see, as general or specific as you want to be?
So, Arteta likes to play really organized and structured, and I think we lack a little bit of chaos. I think we need a little bit of chaos in this team, and I like that. I think I like the way you just put that. And I think we're just very predictable, and teams can essentially study tape on us, like how to. We probably have a tape out there that says how to beat Arsenal Football Club.
Well, hold that thought real quick, because the tape on how to beat Arsenal Football Club is to put 2 defenders in front of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the defender's right-hand side, so that when he cuts into the middle, there's another defender waiting for him, and there's probably a third right behind him, and he can't get that shot off. That's how you beat Arsenal Football Club. It's as simple as that. Sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
You might be right. I don't know if it's that simple.
Let's ask you, Ryan. I like what you're saying. Who would you have to bring the chaos?
I mean, I think to me the best person that brings the chaos is probably Pepe.
Yeah, man.
And
Chaos
Yeah.
and mayhem.
it's crazy because Pepe has been playing well for us. Even the games he scored in the Europa League, he's played really bad until he just produces that little moment of magic. But again, I go back to the Leicester game. Sometimes all you need is that like 1 second of magic. You need that one goal. That's all you need. And I think the way Arteta sets us up is he sets us up to win 1-0 every week. And it's boring. It's not fun to watch. And being a fan of a team that's not fun to watch isn't fun, obviously. So I think we need a little, unpredictability. I think Pepe needs confidence. I think he needs a little coaching. I think he needs time. I think Willian gives us that structure, and he gives us that. I don't want to say defensive stability up front. Doesn't really make sense, but he's kind of like that guy that can track back and defend. I don't really care about that. Our defense is stable enough, right now. We have Partey. I want to say we have El Nene for right now. A lot of people slagged him off, said he didn't have a good game. I didn't think he played that bad. I just think he tried to. I think he tried to up the tempo. I think he tried to push the pace, make the game quicker. And the rest of the team did not want to run. The rest of the team just walked around, like Rohan said, slow, didn't run. I think El Nene really tried to almost like Guendouzi it and try to will this team and put the team on his back and move fast, make quick movements, quick transitions, and the team just did not respond. And in response, I think El Nene was very kind of a little sloppy sometimes with the ball. He misplaced a few passes. I don't want to completely exonerate El Nene and say he was a god and the team failed him. But I do think that was a big part of the problem, and I don't think El Nene was as bad as what people make him out to be. And I also think that, Partey going off at halftime really screwed us over. Yeah. But then again, our first half we weren't good in the first half. Let's not sugarcoat this. We weren't good. I just think we need a little bit of talent and chaos, and we have the talent. I just think, and I think I've said this on a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, I don't know. Arteta is trying to build the perfect machine with all functioning parts. And sometimes you have a part that works better than the rest of the machine. Let that part work better. The machine does not need to be a perfect, well-structured human. If the right hand can hit harder than the left hand, then you hit him with the right hand. You don't need to hit with both hands. And like kind of was saying with Aubameyang, if Aubameyang, I think Arteta is limiting Aubameyang's, I don't want to say goal scoring ability, but his just ability in general. And I think he's doing the same thing with Lacazette. I think Lacazette should be nowhere near this team right now. But I still, in that respect, I think he's limiting his ability. And I think it's to the detriment of the player, but in Arteta's mind, it's to benefit the machine. And as we see, the machine did not do so well against Villa, who were not scared of us, because they're like, oh, this Arsenal team, they don't score. Let's just run at them. And they had Ali Watkins sit on our defenders already in place. They had Grealish 3 or 4 times carried the ball from his 18 to our 18. Maybe not 18, but pretty much like half. Yeah. So
we here in America call that coast to coast, baby.
Yeah. I think we need to be unpredictable, and we need to. I think Arteta kind of needs to let the reins off the team a little bit and not control so much. And I just think he's afraid. He's afraid of what he can't control, and I get that when I coach or when I watch people play, I'm like on people like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? But then, I can't tell you the amount of times I'll watch a game, whether I'm either on the field or on the sidelines watching, where I'm like, oh my God, why they make that pass? And then they score like right after. So it's tough because, again, like I said, you want the perfect setup, and you're afraid of unpredictability, especially as a manager. You're afraid of the unknown. And especially as a rookie is what everyone's calling him. Meanwhile, he coached Man City the last couple of years, so rookie my ass. But we need that, and I think he needs to look in the mirror and kind of admit that to himself. He needs to kind of let these players, as Wenger would let the players do, express themselves. And I think he needs a little bit of Wenger in him in his coaching.
Well, I've said before that in defense, Rowan, just hold that thought real quick. In defense, you need structure. In defense, you need to know what your responsibilities are. But when you're attacking, you need to be creative. You need to be expressive. And I think he's given these guys. And here's the thing: one thing that I think we as supporters last season were we were so quick to heap praise on Arteta was, look at him, he's on the touchline, he's barking instruction at everybody. It's so great, like everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. And he's still doing that. But now I think we're all, at least I am anyway, starting to think maybe he's barking too much instruction.
Yeah.
And these guys are like, they're kind of like just standing there with the ball now, and play just comes to a grinding halt. And they're like, oh, okay. All right. So I've got the ball under my foot. Okay. Where do I go? Where do I go? A, then where do I go? B, then where do I go? C, and then what do I do with D? And like,
I think he thinks he's playing FIFA. I really do. I think he's on the sideline thinking he's playing a big version of FIFA. And he's a brilliant mind. So in a way, I was okay with it, and I am okay with it because I still stand by this. I think Arteta is one of the best coaches in the Premier League. I do. I still stand by it. But I think he needs to kind of be like, okay, listen, I'm not on the field. I'm not in the souls and minds of these and bodies of these players. I can't control every move they make.
Right.
I need the players that we brought in, that we trust to play for Arsenal Football Club. I need them to kind of express themselves.
You need to trust that they're going to make the right decision, that they're going to make the right play, and they're not always going to make the right play. So when they don't, you can't then all of a sudden you can't I don't, punish isn't the right word, but you don't want to punish them for the one mistake they make in a game, though. You know what I mean, Rowan? Back to the original question. What are you looking for change? Yeah, what are you looking for change wise against Leeds?
And will he make that change? So I think, I would be shocked if he doesn't make a change, and if it's the same starting 11 that goes into the next game. Yeah, I would be shocked, because one thing that I've seen with Arteta is that he has a little bit of this ruthless streak as well, right? He has that ruthless streak in him. He got Guendouzi right out of the club. If you don't perform for him, he's going to get you out of that club. He doesn't care. And that's what I felt from his post-match interview. When he gave that, I felt like he had that sort of, anger in him, where he said that I take the blame and there was lack of effort. When there's lack of effort, that means that he's going to make change, and so I will be shocked. So I don't even want to entertain the idea of the fact that it's going to be the same starting 11. And if there is, and the effort levels are also the same, then I really need to think about it some more. But you've asked me on the fly, and I won't even consider that option, that he's going to play that 11 again. That's just unacceptable. That's on that point. And what he needs to change is, like you guys have said, and we've all given like different analogies, and I'd like to state something that this guy had said, right? That he has to play with the handbrakes off. That's what he needs to do, right? Right now we've got our handbrakes on. Everybody knows their positions, and everybody's sort of playing in that way and following instructions. But our whole attacking flair was built on players interchanging, and the defenders not knowing when to catch them, for our midfielders to push up, for us to play in and around the box. Right now our average possession has also gone down, and the issue that we are facing right now, the last two defeats that we've had against Leicester and against Villa at home, has been because we couldn't play a low block. That is a problem. And that's a problem because we're not being imaginative, right? We're not, our midfielders aren't cutting the lines and running in between the lines and dragging defenders with them. But how would they? Because we play only two midfielders and not the third one. So that's a problem. Our fullbacks aren't adding enough width. And the wingers, they aren't cutting enough. For Aubameyang, he's marked out of the game, and Willian's just not good enough. Willian is another Mkhitaryan story again, right? That's what he reminds me of. First game, did really well, got 2 assists. And since then, he tracks back, right? He tracks back. But that's not what I want to see. Like, I mean, that is important. And I think Pepe does that as well. But you want to see that flair. And I don't know if Pepe is going to play really well, because a few podcasts ago, I had said that, Pepe in the cameo appearance that he had done didn't do well in that game where he hit the front man twice, right? You guys remember when he took the corner and he hit the the first man twice. So who knows what's going to happen, but we have to try something different, right? And I'm really counting on Arteta for him to be doing something different.
Can I say something? I like to circle all the way back to something that Ryan said, which I think was bang on. And it was about bringing the chaos. And what I would like to see Mikel Arteta do, I'd like to see him put his arm around Nicola Pepe. Even if we might not think he's worth the money that we've paid, I know some people don't. Why doesn't Mikel Arteta make him feel that he is the most expensive signing at the club, and to say to him, look, obviously you've got a few duties you've got to do there on the right, and you've got to help out the right back. But you know what? Have a wander. Get yourself in there. Get yourself in and around the box and help out the striker. And say to the rest of the team, lads, when you see him and he's a bit free, give him the ball. Let's give the ball to Nico. And let's get something like that going. Make Pepe feel that he's got that freedom. Make him feel that he is the club's biggest record signing, even though he might not be worth it. Let's make him feel it rather than keeping him rigid. And I think that would get a little bit more out of him. Also, as well, with the Mikel Arteta shouting from the sidelines, I'm getting a bit tired of it now. It was quite endearing at first. But, I mean, imagine you was doing your job. Let's say you're working in a bank, and you've got your manager constantly on your shoulder, watching you counting out the money all the time and telling you what to do. I mean, at some point, they're going to turn around and go, mate, can you just back off and let me do my job? And I can imagine that some of the players are probably getting a little bit fed up with it now, because how are you supposed to express yourself when you're constantly hearing "Daddy, Daddy, Hector"? And the other day it really stood out. I really noticed it, and they had it on with the crowd noise, but you could still hear it. And I was thinking, man, that must be really loud in the stadium. Because there's no crowd noise in the stadium. That must be really loud. And he's like shouting your name and constantly coaching you. And I'm sure it must make some players feel a little bit inadequate, that they need to be getting shepherded constantly through the game. And he's telling them where to be and where to go. But do you know what I mean? I understand that managers have to have a bit of have an influence from the sidelines, and with the shape and everything like that. But he really sometimes he'll pick on a certain player for ages, and he'll just be constantly marshalling that player. And I'm not sure what that does for a player's confidence, because you've got to remember, when there's a crowd in there, the player's not going to hear it all the time, and the player's obviously got the excuse to say at the end of the game, "Sorry, boss, I didn't hear over the noise." But they ain't got that excuse now. When he shouts, "Danny, do this," or "Danny, do that," you're hearing it, and you got to do what you've got to do what he's saying. So I think I'd like to see him ease up a little bit on that.
Oh, another thing I also actually want to say, not necessarily for Leeds, but I think going forward, I want to see more, probably Europa. I want to see more of Balogun. I don't think Eddie and Lacazette are doing enough. I don't think Eddie is got it in him. I'm not saying Eddie will never work out for us. Right now, he's not gonna. I think he needs to go to the gym, take some steroids. But I don't see it. I really want to give this Balogun guy a chance, and especially since he's planning on leaving in the summer, I want to kind of give him an ultimatum and play him, see where his head's at. If he can play and he can sign for us, do a job, then let's see what he's about. If not, then I think we need to sign a striker. I really do. Whether it's in January, in the summer, I do. I stand by us. We need a striker more than we need an attacking midfielder. So I think that needs to kind of sort itself out.
I actually like that. I wasn't going to necessarily go down the road of Balogun, but since you mentioned his name, well, let me say this. I also think that tactically we need to invert that front three. So right now, the center forward is playing behind the two wingers. I think that needs to change. I think the center forward needs to be playing in front of the wingers. That's where we're going to create more. And I'm just not sold on Eddie Nketiah. I'm just not. I've not. It's not that I don't like the kid. I like him well enough. I know that he's England's under 23's record goal scorer now, but I don't know that he's a Premier League striker. I really don't.
The stat about his goal scoring in yardage or something. You have that stat. What is it?
50. Eddie Nketiah has scored 10 goals for Arsenal Football Club at a total combined distance. It's like total combined weight. At a total combined distance of 50.5 yards on average. So his average distance on his goals is 5 yards away from the goal line.
But he is the fox in the box that Wenger wanted.
Fox in the box. Yep.
He is Franny Jeffers.
Yep. I don't know what Eddie's a poacher. Eddie's a guy that I think can always come on as a sub and bring a little bit of energy late in the game. But I don't think that Eddie is ever going to be the guy that's going to make the runs into the box. I just don't see him as that kind of a player. And Aubameyang is that player. Lacazette is not that player. But I have no idea what Balogun is because I haven't seen enough of him. Ryan, I think of the three of us, and I mean no offense, Stan or Rohan. Ryan, I think you probably follow the U23s closer than any of us do. Have you seen more of him? Or have you seen enough of Balogun to speak intelligently on the type of striker that he is?
Yeah, to an extent. I think we have a lot of young talent up and coming. I actually watched a little bit more highlights because I couldn't get it. We played EFL trophy game against Gillingham. Gillingham. Yeah, Gillingham. Sorry. Yeah. So I thought he did well.
Frenchie.
See, I'm here for those English little villages.
Yeah, the Queen's English.
I'm terrible like that. I can't pronounce anything. He captained the side, so that's a start. I don't like strikers captaining the team, but that's whatever. But yeah, I mean, kind of going off topic, but Chambers played, so that's good. He actually partnered with Saliba.
Callum Chambers played a game.
Yeah, he played. Saliba actually played well. And I guess
the full 90 minutes.
No, he played 45.
Okay. One question: Balogun, right or left foot? What is he?
Right.
Okay.
I'm like terrible at figuring that out. I'm pretty sure he's right. Yeah. The thing is, he doesn't really play. He hasn't played Arteta's system. That's my only thing. But I mean, I think he's a natural goal scorer. I think he wants that ball and he'll score it at any means necessary. And I think we need that. I don't see that hunger in Eddie's eyes. I don't see that hunger. I think I see the hunger in Eddie's eyes getting to the right spot of the field to slot it home. But it's not really. It's not good enough in the Premier League, and I just think Lacazette is he's cooked. But yeah, I think we have a lot of young talent. I don't get too into it, but I can't pronounce this guy's name. He scored for us. Serkan. I'm butchering his name. He's like 16, 18-year-old Spanish guy. He's getting kid, I should say, guy. Good. He's gonna be good. Yeah, I mean, we won on penalties, and the good news is the player that scored for Gillingham was Trey Coyle, who is an Arsenal loanee. So we scored on both sides of the ball. So
isn't
Zach Medley is also there.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
And they both played. So I'm a big Zach Medley fan. I didn't really see how he really did, but Trey Coyle scored for Gillingham, so that's good. I think he's going to be a force. I think we have some younger offensive firepower, but again, it's just to me the U23s and the U21s and the EFL trophy. It's not the same game. It just isn't.
No,
Balogun could score 10 goals for me in a U23 game. That doesn't mean like he's the next big Premier League striker, but it's still good to watch. It's still good to watch. People's instincts,
style,
what they like to do, how they play, how they work together. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited for what we have, and it's funny because in saying I'm excited, we have a lot of guys out on loan. So our U23 team is not good. It's mostly 16, 18-year-olds because we have so many guys out.
I totally just lost my train of thought.
Can I just say something then? While we're talking about youth, and it's kind of circling back to Mikel Arteta, I was kind of under the impression that when he came in as manager, I don't know why, I don't know what gave me the impression. I thought some of our younger players, people like Reece Nelson, Joe Willock, maybe Emil Smith-Rowe now that he's back from loan, I thought I would be seeing more of them than what I am seeing. And especially when you look at some of the Europa games that we've played, Dundalk and Vienna and that, and some of them have done very, very well, that they've not been rewarded by even being on the bench. And if I look at a game like what happened at the weekend, and especially after a performance that Joe Willock put in, and that's a player, by the way, that's taken a while for me to kind of really, I'm still a little bit on the fence with him, but those performances were very good. You would think that if he's on the bench and you're looking at, okay, this isn't working, my original plan is not working, what can I do here to change it up? Surely that's a candidate that you could look through and think, okay, I'll change it up a little bit and I'm going to bung this guy here in the midfield. So to not even make the bench after playing 2 very good games, you know, didn't he get the man of the match as well?
Yeah, against Molde. Yeah,
there's a reward there. It can tell you what message that does send out to younger players that are trying to get into the first team, that are working hard, training with the first team. You have a game like that, or for example, before the last game, Nicolas Pepe, 2 goals and 1 assist in 3 games. Who starts? Willian. Willian went out for an injury. What happened as soon as he came back? Willian was in. Now, I don't know how true this is, but a geezer, I was talking to a geezer down the pub. So this is how true this is. Hold on a minute. A geezer down the pub must be true. But he said to me, oh, yeah. He said to me, apparently Willian's got a clause in his contract where he has to play a set amount of games. X amount. There is a number. And Mikel Arteta did say after his one of his press conferences, well, there are some players that I have to play. So
what happens if he doesn't? He leaves the club, is it?
I don't know, but
You probably have to pay him extra money or something.
This geezer down the pub could be chatting shit, or 2, maybe there's something in that. Maybe there is a clause. I don't know how contracts work. I've looked at them myself, but you know, Willian, he did go out for that injury, and instead of working him back in, he was straight in, and he is, for me. I know we've been talking about Lacazette. For me, when we signed Willian, I didn't understand the reasoning why. I was like, signing this player, and it was sold to me. And I can't remember who it was, people talking to me or something I read, but it was kind of packaged in a way that he was going to be that creative player in the middle.
That's probably me.
It might have been you. You know, we were going to go to 4 at the back, and he was going to be maybe more in the middle. The word creativity kept coming up a lot. That's not happened. He's playing on the right-hand side, and Nicolas Pepe can't get a sniff.
I think I sold myself a bill of goods too, because when we signed him, I was like, "Oh, that's a good." I was talking myself up, and I did talk people up on.
I liked the player. I liked the signing. I didn't like the term. I would have been okay with Willian for 2 years. I didn't like the 3rd year. That's the only thing.
I like the idea of signing him on a free, but he just hasn't panned out. It is what it is. Kind of going back to your question, Tanner, which I didn't really answer. You know, do I think our fan base is entitled? 150% we are. And I think that's a problem. I think our club is entitled because to me, I see a lot of potential. And I know Big Steve will agree with me. Shout out to Big Steve in the chat. He loves the kids. And I think the kids can help us out a lot. I think we have kids that can do jobs for us. And I just don't think we have time. And with us being so entitled as a fan base, we're not going to give Arteta time. We're not going to. I don't think the higher ups are going to give Arteta time. But I really do think that there's something in Willock, in Reece Nelson. I think we need to play some people. We can't be playing Willian week in, week out. We really can't be. Aubameyang's a tough one for me. But I think a lot of these players that are playing week in, week out, I don't think. I think we need to kind of move the squad around, rotate around. I think we need to see what we have. And I don't think Arteta is doing a good enough job. And I think the reason why he's not doing enough job is because I think the fan base and the upper management are just too entitled. We're a big six club. We finished 8th last year, you know. So that's all you need to know, you know. And if people who can't count in the chat, 8 is more than 6. Big 6 is like the top 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're 8th. So we're not in that group. So I mean, it's difficult
for those who are a little slow at math.
Yeah,
uninitiated.
Yeah, so it's tough because Reece Nelson, Willock have done really good things. Yes, Dundalk. Yes, Mold. I get that.
That's the only.
But they're offering the unpredictability and the chaos we need. They're running at teams. They're running at defenses. It doesn't hurt to try. I'm not saying play the kids, play a starting 11 of all players that are under 23. I'm not saying that. But I think that there's and for like perfect example would be Willock. Willock's had 2 men of the match games, and he couldn't get into the team against Villa. He traveled with the squad, so he was healthy. He was good enough to play. He didn't make the bench though. So I think it's tough because my opinion, and I said this and I'll say this: I knew we were going to be bad this year. I think we just bite the bullet. We're bad this year. We test some things out, see what works, what doesn't work. I know it's hard to just be like, oh, if they don't work, just get rid of them. You can't just get rid of these things, these pieces. It's dead wood. But I just think we need to try more. And I don't want to say experiment. That's a really dumb thing to say. But we
probably have to experiment a little bit more at this point.
We do, but the fan base won't allow it. I think if the fan base won't allow it, the upper management won't allow it. And
so
it's upsetting. It sucks because I really think we have something, with certain players. I think certain players that aren't being played offer us something that we don't have in the squad right now. And I just don't think Arteta is given the time because we lose to Villa 3-0. You have people in our chat saying Arteta out. So do I think they're stupid, idiots, moronic? Yeah, I do, but it's an opinion. It's an opinion, and
what opinions are like.
I don't need your asshole analogy for this one, but
is it wrong? I'm not wrong.
No, it's not wrong. It's just I think it annoys me because I want to give Arteta time, but I'm hearing all these other people that just won't give Arteta time. We lose. We do something people don't like. It's all his fault. Get rid of him. We could bring in Messi to coach our team tomorrow. Because I guess that's how this might be how this fan base thinks. I don't even know. They may think we're gonna bring back Wenger. I just these people have these they're very narrow-minded and very short-sighted. We lost get rid of Arteta and we'll figure it out.
Get rid of the entire team and we'll just go get 19 whatever Barcelona bring them.
We're gonna win the league. We have Partey. Everything's gonna be fine, guys. Yeah. Relax.
So I want to end tonight with this question because I don't want to dive. We have another show to do next week, so I don't want to really kind of kill everything before next week. And then next week we sit around and we're like, what do we talk about? Because we haven't had anything to dissect. So we have Leeds away, Wolves at home, and the Scum away. I believe the next 3 matches, not including Europa League, coming out of this international break. So. Worst case scenario, we lose all 3. Form doesn't change. All of the other changes are made. We change lineup. We change tactics. Nothing works. Form remains the same. We lose. I have a dog scratching herself against my desk. If anybody could hear that noise.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know what they're doing.
You're really excited about the questions and the process.
I am. And hand check. So, doom and gloom, hellfire and brimstone. Stan, what does the world of Arsenal look like in a month if what I just laid out happens?
Well, we lose all of those games, and the performances are similar to what we've just seen.
Well, let's say that
you open up Twitter and your phone will just explode in your hand. That's what will happen. We're like, what the fuck? iPhone just blown up in my hand. That's what will happen. The fan base
spontaneous combustion.
Because you got to remember, there's that North London derby in there. That's the one, right? That's the one. But also as well, again, you're saying about, you said it earlier on about, is there a sense of entitlement? Maybe there is. Maybe there is with me because, I've been supporting this team a very long time. And the teams that you've mentioned there, a team that has just come up, Leeds, yeah? The other one, Wolves. These are teams that I think that we should be able to. Are they both, what's it, home and away? Tell me. Leeds
away, Wolves at home.
Okay. Yeah, we should be able to go to Leeds and get 3 points. We should be able to get 3 points at home at Wolves. But you know what? I don't think it's going to turn out like that. Did you hear what I'm saying? I don't think it might not turn out like that because both of those teams are fairly crafty. Both of those teams are very good. But I think it might be a case of, definitely with Wolves, Wolves are not a smaller team, a rubbish team as you think anymore. I can remember
very well structured.
I can remember when I was at school when they opened the Molineux Stadium, and it was the first £1 million stadium in maybe the world, definitely in England. It was a big deal. They were like a big team at the time. I used to go to school in London, and I used to have kids in PE kits that would have Wolves kits on in London. And this team's from Birmingham, right up Birmingham way. They had played Andy Gray playing for them. So,
hey Stan, real quick, I want to.
You should never say on paper. Sorry, say again.
No, I just want to say one thing to Dave real quick. You spelled scum wrong.
I mean, you should never say on paper. It's easy to say that, but we're going into some difficult games. And the thing is, when we get to that North London derby, we need to be going into that with a bit of momentum. We need to be going into that in a good place. If we go in there on the back of a couple of hide-ins, Mourinho he's like a jackal, mate. He's like a hyena. He'll smell that and be all over it like a hyena.
I don't want to say what I'm about to say, but I am a realist, and I like to think that I'm a fairly objective sports fan overall. If what you just said, Stan, if we go into that game to the North London derby on the back of 2 losses, they're probably going to clean that new stadium with us. I don't know. They, on their day, this particular iteration of that football club, I laughed a couple of weeks ago when people were like, hey, they could they challenge for the league? Hate to say it. Yeah, they could. And if we go in there on the back of 2 losses with 0 confidence,
Wait, about scum?
Yeah.
No, stop it. What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Here's why. Here's why. Who is good? Hang on. Who is good? Who is good? Nobody in this league is good right now.
Just because they're better than us doesn't mean a challenge for the title. You're talking crazy.
Now is the difficult fixtures for them.
This league is the winner of this season's Premier League literally will be the tallest dwarf. It's like nobody wants to win.
I don't agree.
Man
City's still good. Liverpool, just because they're not playing to their potential doesn't mean they're not good. Man City still has a good squad. Liverpool, even with Van Dijk injured, they still have a good squad. Tottenham do not have a
Tottenham. Who has Tottenham played till now? Who has Tottenham played till now? Like their difficult run of fixtures starts now. Our difficult run of fixtures has ended. So. I mean, I don't know if I can take the question. I mean, this is the rounding up thoughts, right? So I'll just give my opinion on it. That I look forward to every game. I end a game which is a loss, thinking that this is so stupid and I shouldn't be doing this, and why do I even tune in? And this is all of these thoughts. But then the next day, I'm looking forward to the next game to rectify that, right? I think all of us are like that. So I don't even want to think of the possibility that we're going to lose to Leeds. And Leeds are a good team. Leeds have done well. They dominated Manchester City in the second half. So we have some more evidence of them and how they play. Hopefully, Arteta looks at that, plays to our strengths, because man for man, we are better than them. I think we are better than them. At least our squad value is more than theirs. So we have to win there. And against Wolves, we struggled initially because we got a loss and a draw a couple of times, and then we won the last time, I think. And they haven't been scoring a lot, and we have to sort of turn it around against them. And against, the scum, it's the same thing, right? Like, they haven't played anyone. And just think about this. And that's what gave me some amount of solace. Like you said, the tallest dwarf, right? Like, after disastrous performances as well, we're just 6 points, two games from the top, right? That's the big deal, right? One more win against them, and it could have been a different story. And arguably, we should have won 2. We should have won that game against Leicester. It was stupidity that we lost. Not playing well meant that we should have drawn. Ideally, we should have won that game. So that's what should have happened. And against Villa, we just didn't show up. So, what we need to do is show up. This October was supposed to be difficult for us, and we failed in October, in my opinion. We had City, we lost there. We had Liverpool, we lost there. We had Leicester, we lost there. United, we won. And then we started off November with a loss against Villa. So now, I don't think now Arsenal team is even good enough that our players go on international duty, right? They don't get picked. At least the England boys don't get picked. That's not even an excuse anymore.
We love international breaks because it means all of our players can do extra training as a team.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I didn't understand why there was this thing of we're playing Europa and everybody who plays in the midweek is playing. Most of our big guns don't play in the Europa. It's not like we're playing Champions League. This is a completely separate team that's playing. So I don't want to hear any of that. I think this is, for me, a blip. The level of effort and motivation was a blip, and the way Arteta got humbled has to teach him a lesson. And I want to see that reaction, and I think that we are going to win.
That might be the best thing that any of us have said tonight. And you guys have had some good shit tonight. All three of you. That one right there might be the best. Arteta got humbled. So now we go a little Rocky. Here, I'm gonna quote Rocky for you. It's not about how hard you can get. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going. Arteta just got hit. So now we're going to see. Now I think is the first real bit of adversity that Mikel Arteta has faced since coming in here in terms of matches. Obviously, having a season stopped, mid in the middle of it is pretty big. But I think that I think we're going to leave it there. I don't really think we can top that, fellas. So, Rohan gets the last word there on that, and humbled. The word of the week is humbled. Mikel Arteta got a little bit of humble pie, so we're going to see how it tastes to him and if he decides he doesn't want to have any more of that here in 2 weeks. So I want to thank everybody in the chat box. I would be remiss if I did not mention our partner, our advertising partner, Manscaped. Go to Manscaped, enter the code SAMEOLD, SAMEOLD, all one word at checkout. You will get 20% off your order plus free shipping. Manscaped will kind of make you look like Stan, only down below. That's what they're there for. So, fellas, give them a look. Anybody any quick last, very, very quick last words from anyone?
Yeah, just from me, I just want to say yet again this week, the chat box, they're like the 12th man, aren't they? Just like a football team, they're like the 12th man out there. A lot of good discussion. I know that we're not all going to agree on stuff, but it's really good to see everyone, having their say. So big up the chat box, man. Thanks.
Yeah. You guys are bringing it week in, week out. And honest to God, it's hard to keep up with all the comments, but most of what I say, listen. At the end of the day, if all of us agreed on everything, what would we have to talk about? We're just spouting, regurgitating the same things over and over again. So I think differences of opinion are good, even though at the end of the day, we all share the love of Arsenal Football Club. So, Ryan,
I'm just laughing at Big Steve's comment there. It's just made me chuckle at the end there.
Ryan, that's your boy. I don't know who Big Steve is, but Big Steve, hey man, listen, a little baby powder or something should might help that out a little bit. So, Ryan, you got anything? Any last words? Famous last words?
No, Rohan summed it up perfectly. He needs to come with I don't want to say a clean slate, but he's got to make some changes, and he definitely. Yeah. I think with the Villa game, the mistakes were very apparent. He got punched in the face. He didn't get slapped around the back of the head. He didn't get pushed around. He didn't know who beat him up. The Villa game, he got punched in the face. The mistakes were very apparent. So hopefully, he sees them and he's humbled by them and he fixes them, or at least changes something up.
Arteta got clubber langed against Villa. For those of you who are Rocky fans, he got clubber langed. So that's it for us, guys. Thank you all very much. We'll be back next Tuesday, 9:45 on the East Coast, 6:45 out Stan's Way on the West Coast, and that's all we got. So we'll see you guys. See you guys next week. Good footy talk. See you out there.